The silence in my mother's house had a weight to it, a thick, heavy quiet that seemed to swallow the sound of my own breathing. I stood in the doorway of her bedroom, a stack of flattened cardboard boxes at my feet, like a pile of unanswered questions. This was the final task, the one I'd been dreading for months. To dismantle a life, to pack a universe of memory into tape-sealed squares. My eyes landed on a small, scuffed velvet case on her dresser. I knew what it was without opening it, but I did. Inside, resting on the faded silk, was a single, luminous pearl button. It was from the wedding dress she wore 52 years ago, the one she'd kept folded in tissue paper at the top of her closet. A button that had held together the very beginning of her story with my father. I closed my fist around it. It was cool and smooth, a tiny, perfect moon in the palm of my hand. And in that moment, holding this small, insignificant piece of her, the dam inside me, the one I'd reinforced with logic and to-do lists, finally, completely shattered. My mother, Eleanor, didn't just live in this house. She breathed life into it. She was a quiet historian of our ordinary, beautiful chaos. Even now, the air was a delicate tapestry of scents. The faint, sweet ghost of her lavender talcum powder, the beeswax polish she used on the old oak banister, the lingering, comforting smell of vanilla from 1,000 baked afternoons. This house was her masterpiece. Every scuff mark was a chapter. The faint water stain on the ceiling from an overflowing bath, the notch on the kitchen door frame charting my growth, and then David's right beside it. The window seat in the living room, its cushions still indented with the shape of her, where she'd sit and watch for our cars to pull into the driveway. I had foolishly, desperately hoped my brother David would be here beside me for this. But his world had shifted its axis. His wife, Chloe, had a chic, minimalist apartment in the city, a place where life was curated, not collected. When I called him, my voice too bright, too cheerful, I said, "David, we really need to start on Mom's house." There was a long pause on the other end, filled with the static of distance. I could hear typing in the background. "Just do what you think is best, Sarah," he'd said, his voice flat. "You were always the one who understood her. All her sentimental stuff." Sentimental stuff? He made her a lifetime of love sound like clutter, something to be sorted through and discarded. So I was alone. Alone with the tapping of the old oak tree against her bedroom window, a sound that used to lull me to sleep from down the hall. Now it sounded like a persistent, lonely question. I decided to start in the living room. It felt safer, the surface level things. But I was wrong. I opened the bottom drawer of the console table and found the photo albums. Their faux leather covers were soft with age. I sat on the floor, the way I did as a child, and opened the first one. There we were, the four of us, a perfect, smiling square. My father, his hair still dark, my mother, her smile effortless, me with two messy braids, and David, his arm thrown around my shoulders, his grin a gappy, glorious mess. He was protecting me even then. I traced the outline of his little boy face. "What happened to us, David?" I whispered into the silent, judging room. "When did we become strangers who share a childhood?" My phone vibrated on the rug, a harsh, modern intrusion. A text from David. No, "How are you holding up?" No, "This must be hard." It just read, "Hey, Chloe was wondering, if you come across that blue ceramic vase, the one Mom always had flowers in, she'd really love to have it. Thinks it would look great in our entryway." I felt a hot, sharp sting behind my eyes. That vase. My mother would go into the garden first thing in the morning with clippers in hand to find the perfect bloom for it. A single rose, a sprig of lilac. It was a daily ritual of beauty, a small act of love for her home. And now it was an accessory for an entryway. It felt like they were shopping, picking through the bones of our history for the most attractive pieces. A memory, sharp and clear, pierced through me. It was last Thanksgiving. Mom was slower, her hands a little more unsteady, but she'd made her famous pumpkin pie. She was telling a story about the first Thanksgiving after Dad died, how David, at 10 years old, had insisted on carving the turkey himself. She was in the middle of the story, her eyes soft with the memory, her hands shaping the air, when Chloe's phone chimed with a notification. She and David leaned in to look, sharing a private joke, a quiet laugh escaping her lips. It wasn't malicious, it was just careless. And I watched the light in my mother's eyes flicker and die. Her hands slowly settled back in her lap. The story was left unfinished, hanging in the air between us, a delicate thread that had been snipped. I saw it. I saw the tiny fracture in her heart, and I did nothing. I just passed the mashed potatoes. The regret of that silence was a physical ache in my chest now. Why did I stay quiet? Why did I let her be erased, one unfinished story at a time? I couldn't put it off any longer. I walked into her bedroom and approached her writing desk. This was her command center. This is where the real her lived. The mahogany surface was worn in places from the press of her wrists, the slide of her pen. My heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. I opened the top drawer, and there they were. A neat stack of envelopes, tied together not with string, but with a faded satin ribbon from a birthday present long ago. The top envelope had my name written in her elegant, looping cursive. I sank to the floor, my back against the solid wood of the desk, as if I needed its strength to hold me up. I broke the delicate ribbon and opened the letter. The date was from just a few months before she left us. Dearest Sarah, I saw the way you looked at me today when I couldn't find the word for bookmark. You tried to hide it, my love, but I saw the flicker of fear in your eyes. And I'm so sorry for putting it there. It feels like I'm a jar full of beautiful, shiny memories, and someone has come along and loosened the lid. Now, little pieces of me are spilling out when I'm not looking, rolling away into dark corners where I can't find them. I'm trying so hard to gather them up, to keep myself whole for you and David, just a little while longer. I worry for your brother. He has always dealt with hurt by building a wall around it. He thinks if he doesn't name the monster, it can't get him. He believes that by staying busy, he can outrun the sorrow. But you and I, we know the truth, don't we? You can't outrun this. The grief always finds you. It waits for you in the quiet moments. Be patient with him. When I'm gone, he will need you more than he will ever be able to say. And you, my strong feeling girl, who carries the weight of everything, you will need to learn to let yourself be needed, to be soft. It is your greatest challenge and your greatest gift. I let the paper fall into my lap, the tears flowing freely now, landing on the ink and blurring the words. She saw everything. She saw straight through my bris, straight into the heart of my fear. She saw the lonely burden I was preparing to carry. Then my fingers brushed against another envelope. This one was different, thicker. It simply said, "For David." My breath caught. This felt like a trespass, a sacred space I had no right to enter, but a feeling, a deep, maternal intuition that felt like it came from her, a quiet, insistent whisper. She is lost, Sarah. This is the map. You have to be the one to give it to him. With hands that trembled so badly, I nearly tore the paper. I carefully slid the letter out. It wasn't just a letter. It was a confession, a plea for forgiveness. She wrote about the years after Dad died, how she'd been so lost in her own grief. She'd looked at David, her 12-year-old boy trying to be brave, and she placed a burden on his small shoulders. I told you, you're the man of the house now. And I watched the light in his eyes change. I saw you lock away your sadness, your fear, because you thought that's what a man did. That's what I needed you to do. I was wrong, my darling. So terribly wrong. She wrote about his wedding day, how proud she was, but her heart ached, seeing him in his stiff, perfect suit, his smile not quite reaching the eyes that once held so much mischief. I felt I was giving you away to a life I had taught you to live, a life of quiet duty, of contained emotion. I saw you standing there, a beautiful, polished man, and I missed the little boy who used to laugh until milk came out of his nose. The final paragraph undid me completely. David, my beautiful, serious son,